Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad you decided to tune in. We have a very, very, very busy show for you today. All four affiliates were in action. We're going to talk about the Dodgers' cap to the San Francisco series with a 10-5 win, and so there's a lot to get to. But hey, before we do, just a reminder, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, and tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily. Become a subscriber, and after you subscribe, turn on your notifications. And also, hey, we have the ability now to donate to Dodgers Daily. It's in the description. Just click that link in the description. That link will take you to where you can help donate to Dodgers Daily. No big deal either way. This site will remain free forever. I love doing this, but hey, if you would like to help, that link is there. Just click that link and follow it, and you can help by donating to Dodgers Daily. Okay, so like I said, there's a lot to get to. We're going to talk about Los Angeles first. We're going to have a segment on them. We're going to talk all about the series with San Francisco, especially the cap, the 10-5 win to move the record to 7-6. And then we're going to talk about the four affiliates. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers defeated the San Francisco Giants 10-5 in the series finale there in San Francisco to go 7-6 on the year. And this was one of my favorite wins of the year. One, you hate to go below 500. That's always just kind of a mental thing. You know, I stay above 500 for one. And then you got down 3-0. The Dodgers gave up. Clayton Kershaw did 2 in the first, 1 in the second. And we're down 3-0 going into the fourth. And I love the way the Dodgers played offense in the fourth. I talk about it all the time, not being reliant so much on the long ball. You know, hitting home runs is a statistic that, you know, if you hit more home runs than your opponent, you're probably going to win over the long haul. But, you know, the boom or bust, and it creates inconsistency, in my opinion. And I like, I don't want to take away the home runs. I love the home runs. You got to have them, especially with all the great stuff these pitchers have. It's hard to string together 4 and 5 hits in a row, so I understand all that. But I think you need to surround the home runs like the Dodgers did the other day with some innings that you actually build. So check this out. The Dodgers in that fourth inning, whenever they got on the board for the first time, they had 3 singles, a triple, a double, and a hard hit line out, okay? So, kind of what I'm talking about is, you get that lid off by just playing good offense, by hitting the ball hard, hitting line drives, get a couple of base hits, score that first run, and then once you score that first run, the dugout relaxes, and then that's whenever you can really start opening it up, and we saw that with Max Muncy and Trace Thompson later on in the game where the Dodgers just teed off in the 6th inning. So that's the style that I'm talking about. Hey, score a couple early runs playing good offense, generate a run, get a base hit, steal a base, take the extra base, hit behind a runner, hit a sacrifice fly. Get that early run doing those situational type things, and then go to tee off. And then if you need, one run at the end of the game to win the game, if one run will win the game, then play the situational offense again. Not necessarily small ball, not necessarily bunting. I don't like giving away outs, but I thought that played out perfectly. And for that factor, from an offensive perspective, I thought that was perfect. The Dodgers got the lid off by playing great offense with 3 singles, a triple, and a double, a hard hit line out. They set the tone, and then they teed off there in the 6th inning to win 10-5, a good victory to go back over 500, 7-6. The Dodgers are playing Chicago over the weekend. Okay, so let's get into some hot button topics for Los Angeles. The Dodgers have scored the second most amount of runs in baseball, but yet you're only 7-6. And a large part of that is because, the offense has scored a lot one day, not as much the next. It's been inconsistent. Okay, that's been a big part of it. But 2, the Dodgers also have had a bit of a leaky bullpen, and then the 4 and 5 starting spots have not been good. As a matter of fact, Noah Syndergaard has given up 18 runs in his last 19.1 innings. If you go back to spring training, then we know Michael Grove, he had the rough start. The first start, I've said it a couple times now, the first start for Michael Grove was unlucky. The second start just wasn't very good at all. So the 4 and 5 spots in the rotation have not been very good. Clayton Kershaw, his last 2 outings, has been a little bit leaky. Of course, I don't think anybody's worried about Clayton Kershaw. And then your bullpen's leaked a little bit. But here's the thing. Talked about this on the Dodgers Dogs show the other day. If Tony Gonsolin and Pepio get healthy, a couple things might happen. Even if Noah Syndergaard doesn't figure it out, I think he's going to get to at least July, something like that, to get it figured out. Maybe another 7, 8, 9, 10 starts, something like that, because he has too good of a track record. The Dodgers love those track records. So I think he's going to get that kind of leash. Okay, so let's say he figures it out and then Tony Gonsolin gets healthy. So Gonsolin's your number 4 starter, who was like a Cy Young type pitcher last year. He's going to be the best 4 starter in the game. And then if Noah Syndergaard figures it out, boy, wouldn't everybody like to have Noah Syndergaard in that 5 spot? And if not, then Ryan Pepiot takes that spot over. His lifetime ERA is 3.47, which would probably be the best 5th starter in the game if he can just duplicate those numbers. And if Noah Syndergaard does figure it out, then Ryan Pepiot can move to the bullpen, and now you have a lot of problems fixed. So obviously over 162, nobody ever knee-jerks, and there's certainly no reason to do that, because I think they're in the Dodgers are in a good spot as far as, not being quite as leaky at the back of their starting rotation and in the bullpen. Okay, so far, Yency Almonte, 6.75 ERA. Phil Bickford, 4.26. Andre Jackson, 4.26, but they were all in one outing. So I think Andre Jackson, I think we can all agree, other than the one outing, has been really, really good. A pleasant surprise. Evan Phillips, again, like Andre Jackson, all in one outing. ERA 5.40. Alex Vesia, 9.82. Caleb Ferguson's been pretty good. Looks like coming off the second Tommy John that he's ready to have a good year. Brusdar Graterol, 6.23. Okay, so if you think the Dodgers need to shore up that bullpen, the first thing you're going to hope for is Tony Gonsolin, Ryan Pepiot to get healthy, and then you're going to hope for Noah Syndergaard to get things figured out. That moves Ryan Pepiot to the pen. That helps. But as far as relievers that are in Oklahoma City right now, there's a lot of guys that are throwing really well. Nick Robertson, 1.23 ERA, 12 strikeouts in 7.1 innings. Mark Washington's been throwing very well, 2.84 ERA, 8 strikeouts in 6.1 innings. Justin Brule has been fantastic. He hasn't allowed a run yet this year. Victor Gonzalez has been throwing very well, 1.93 ERA for Gonzalez, 6 Ks, 3 walks, and 4.2 innings. Okay, and then you go down to wandersuero. So you have guys with major league experience like Justin Brule, wandersuero, Victor Gonzalez, guys like that. Suero, 1.80 ERA, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and 5 innings. And then adamkolarek, who we know who can get outs at the major league level. We've seen that right in front of our own eyes as a Dodgers fan. 2.08 ERA, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 4.1 innings. So there's good candidates. The first thing you're going to hope for, again, like I said, Noah Syndergaard gets it figured out. Tony Gonsolin gets healthy. Ryan Pepiot gets healthy. He moves to the bullpen, and we know his stuff is nasty in a 1, 2, maybe 3 inning setting. He could be very, very, very good if that happens. And then also, those are your candidates from Oklahoma City. Okay, the next topic, what do you do with Max Muncy, Chris Taylor? Of course, Max Muncy's batting average is in the low 2s, but his OPS is over 900, so he's kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't. He's not hitting all the time, but when he does, he's very effective and doing a lot of damage. And so, he's kind of that like I said, just, hey, when he is hitting, he's helping you win games and by a large margin, but then he goes stretches and quite a bit, of long stretches where he doesn't hit, and then Chris Taylor just has not been good offensively. So the question I think is going to be a couple of questions around that. What do you do with those two? First of all, and then second of all, of course, we've seen that Rojas has gone out with injury, so Chris Taylor's playing shortstop. So I think the first, if you're going to think about, replacing those two guys, if at any point, Max Muncy isn't hitting, Chris Taylor isn't hitting, and you feel like you need to replace those guys from somebody down on the farm, it's going to have to be a left side infielder, okay? And so who would that be? Your two candidates. Michael Busch, okay, Michael Busch, again, he had 3 hits again last night. He's hitting 360 something. His OPS is 900. So he's been just hitting the ball like he always does. And he played a really good third base last night. Go to my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, and you can see 4 or 5 really nice plays he made at third base last night. So there's candidate number 1. If it's a third base spot that you need to fill, if the shortstop, if you need a guy that can play shortstop and third base, your number 1 candidate is going to be Lukewilliams, who is absolutely fantastic. He's got good speed. He has major league experience. He's played offense very well, and he's hitting 366 OPS, 1194. So those are your 2 candidates. If you ever felt like you needed to replace Max Muncy or Chris Taylor, those are the two candidates that you would do it with. Okay, so again, the Dodgers 7-6 on the season. They had a big win the other night over the San Francisco Giants 10-5 to finish that series and on to the Chicago Cubs. So that concludes our episode, or our segment, I should say, on the Los Angeles Dodgers. So now it's time to talk about all the affiliates in the system. So let's not waste any more time and let's take a trip down on the farm. The OKC Dodgers scored 1 in the bottom of the first, 3 in the bottom of the second. Matter of fact, they scored in all the first 4 innings in 5 of the first 6, 6 of the first 7. They scored 3 in the second, 3 in the fourth, 3 in the 7th inning, and that was sandwiched between one-run innings, the first, third, and the 6th. So the Oklahoma City Dodgers, they had a good win last night, 12-5 behind pitching of Robbie Erlin, Justin Hageman, adamkolarek, and wandersuero. We're going to get into that here in this video just in a minute. Okay, so this is Michael Busch. He went 3 for 4 last night. We know he can hit, so I'm not going to show you his hit tool in this video. What I'm wanting to show you here and what I am showing you is him at third base. And wow, look at this play right here. How he comes into this, look how he throws on the run, and look at the arm. I've been telling you guys, he played quarterback in high school. He was an all-state shortstop. Look how comfortable he is from the left side of the infield, and look at that arm coming across. He was an all-state shortstop in high school. Okay, and there's a shortstop spot. You can tell he's made that play a million times in his life. Okay, and then also he was an all-state quarterback in high school. So the arm is good, the footwork is good. That's a smooth-looking play. The transition to third base, I think, will be one that if they look at it, this is the longest throw you can make. Of course, he didn't get a whole lot on it, and the runner was safe there, but that's still a good play. So I wanted to show you the defense for Michael Busch from third base, and this was from last night. This is every play he had to make. Drewavans was a double away last night from the cycle. You know, I love this young man, the way he plays. I keep telling you he can do a little bit of everything. Well, how about a home run, a triple, and a single last night? He's even 255 on the year. His on-base percentage, by the way, is 357. And like I said, hey, if a major league team took him and told him to be in the top 10 and runs scored, he would do it. Well, how about this? He scored 13 runs so far for Oklahoma City. That's second most in the PCL. That goes to what I'm talking about. This guy just figures out how to get on base. He figures out how to score runs. He does a little bit of everything. Of course, last night he did a lot of everything. There's a nice smile from Drewavans, the young man out of Alabaster, Alabama. He went to Southeastern Louisiana in college. His OPS is 825. So for a center fielder that's able to, he stole 40 bases last year. So look at him run. For a center fielder that can run like that, to have an OPS that is 825 to match his being second in the league and runs scored with 13, that's really good. He's 6 for his last 10. And like I said, during that span, he has a home run, a triple, and 7 runs scored in his last 3 games. Well, we mentioned if the Dodgers want to bring up a left side infielder, this is the guy right here, Lukewilliams. He has done really, really well. He's played very good. He had another multi-hit game last night for Oklahoma City. Here's a good look at him right here. I love the way his hands come through the ball and how flat he stays and how balanced his swing is. He's hitting 378 for AAA Oklahoma City. His OPS is 1196. He has 13 RBIs and 33 total bases in the 11 games he's played. And so, like I said, if you need a third baseman, if you need a shortstop, Lukewilliams has major league experience. Of course, he's not on the 40-man, so somebody'd have to get DFA'd. Somebody'd have to go on the IL stint. Something like that would have to happen. But Lukewilliams is making a case to get back up to the major leagues with the way he's playing with AAA Oklahoma City. Before the season started, we talked about the outfield depth quite a bit. James Altman and Trace Thompson and Jason Hayward, Bradley Zimmer, Steven Duggar, and obviously you have the Mookie Betts and then David Peralta, all those guys. Well, hey, Bradley Zimmer, he had 3 hits last night for Oklahoma City. Quietly, he's hitting 297 on the year, OPS 840, and he's played every single outfield position. So he can play right field, he can play center field, he can play left field, and he's hitting the ball very good. So Bradley Zimmer is representing himself very well. I like this swing. Just not a whole lot can go wrong with that. His head doesn't move. Hands come through the zone flat. No wasted movement. So you're going to be able to hit high velo with that type of uncomplicated swing, if you will, from Bradleyzimmer. On the pitching side, Adamkolarek had another scoreless outing last night for AAA Oklahoma City. That's his 4th in a row, dating back to spring training. It was his 8th scoreless outing in his last 9 appearances. We know Adamkolarek in 2020 was very good. He helped the Dodgers win a World Series. That was back when he could come in and be a specialist and just face that one left-hander. You know, whenever I think he was one of those guys that was hurt the most by that that three-hitter rule that you have to face, because he was that guy that, like I said, come in, face the one lefty. But, hey, he's throwing very well, and he's getting outs at AAA Oklahoma City. And like I said, he's piling inning after inning scoreless in a row. So you know what the experience he has. The Dodgers are keeping a really, really keen eye on him and his progress, and he's doing very well. Yet another arm in the Oklahoma City bullpen with Major League experience that is throwing very, very, very well. Love this changeup here in a minute. Look at that changeup from wandersuero. That's a fantastic pitch to match with. Well, that's another changeup that's really good to match with. You know, his four seams around 92, 93, somewhere in there. Then he has a left turn. There's Michaelbusch again, and a shift at the shortstop spot. Then he has a little cutter/slider pitch that turns left for him. There's a good changeup again. See how that had a little arm side run to it? So, you know, he can make his changeup kind of fade a little bit to the arm side. He can make it tumble like we've seen it a couple times. Then he can turn that slider to the left. Good combination. Major League experience, so the Dodgers love that. And he has pitched very well. Last night was his 3rd scoreless outing in a row, 4th out of his last 5. And he has an ERA of just 1.50 on the year, a whip of just 0.83, and an average against of 111. So that changeup right there to mix with that slider that takes the left turn, and then the changeup where he can actually add the depth to the arm side has been very, very good for wandersuero. Possibly the most talented minor league team in all of baseball, the Tulsa Drillers. They won again last night at Midland against the Rockhounds, who are the AA affiliates of the Oakland A's. Tulsa, well, they waited to score till the 7th inning, and then they exploded. We're going to get to how they scored, and I think you're going to like it here in a minute. They scored 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and 4 in the 9th to get to those 9 runs. They were down 3-0 going into the top of the 7th. That didn't last very long. Nickfrasso was on the bump. We're going to get to that here in a minute. So you're seeing right here, who you are seeing is diegocartaya, who hit his first home run in AA. And by the way, as you're seeing it here, it was a grand slam. How about that? Diegocartaya, a wonderful young man, the Dodgers' #1 prospect, making a splash with his grand slam in his first home run in AA. You know, last year, if you remember, Jacob Amaya's first home run in AAA was a grand slam. Now Diegocartaya, his first home run in AA, a grand slam as well. Okay, Diegocartaya, he's moved his average up to 333. He got off to a slow start. I mentioned that a couple shows ago. I also mentioned that, hey, that's not going to last very long. So Diegocartaya, certainly that has not. And he's hitting now 333 OPS, 1044 for the Dodgers' #1 prospect. Hey, I'll tell you a guy to put on your radar right now who is just absolutely out of his mind, unconscious right now, is Joshstowers. Of course, if you remember, he was a 2nd-round draft pick of the Mariners a while back, and he is off to an absolutely smoking hot start. Check this out. He's hitting .533. His OPS is 1255, and he is 8 for his last 12. And in AA, you know, you have these guys that are throwing 94, 95, 96, and a lot of times their command isn't great. So to go 8 for 12, that's a good look at him, that flat swing, how that the hands come through flat. He turns that barrel to match the plane of the pitch and makes great contact. So to be 8 for your last 12, that's amazing. The Dodgers picked him up off the waiver wire last year from the Texas Rangers. So, hey, Joshstowers having a great start for AA Tulsa, just to add to that insane talent that roster already had. One of the Dodgers' most underrated prospects in the system, Emmanuel Vargas, had 2 hits yesterday for AA Tulsa. He's moved his average up to 364. And if you're saying, hey, who's Emmanuel Vargas? Well, hey, how about this? He led the Midwest League last year in the second half of 2021 in on-base percentage. This guy can hit, man. They have him listed as an outfielder, but he mainly plays first base. Again, 364 OPS, 1045. As a matter of fact, I called him the machine last year because he was like a machine getting on base. He went through a stretch like in May, June, and July last year where he was just unconscious. He has hits in 3 of his last 4 games. And so, hey, there's not just one Vargas. Matter of fact, there's several Vargases in the Dodgers system, and they're all good. Okay, so here's Nickfrasso, who had another great start. You know, Frasso has just ascended up the ranks, and he is highly ranked now as far as a prospect. And I have actually a prospect feature on him if you want to check that out. That's about 12 to 15 minutes long, something like that, and really dives into detail, his numbers and stuff and all that. If you want to know more about him, go ahead and check out that feature. He had a great start last night for AA Tulsa. He went 5 innings. He gave up 4 hits and recorded 5 strikeouts and just 1 walk. Okay, nickfrasso, his ERA on the year, 2.0. He has a whip of 1. That's it, okay? And a strikeout to walk ratio, this is insane. 11 to 1. 11 to 1 is the strikeout to walk ratio. Lots of knees and elbows. It is not a comfortable at bat for hitters. Watch how he drops right there. See how it goes behind his back, which means when you go behind your back, that's called a dropper, which means that it's going to take you longer to get into the throwing position. And so the longer it takes you to get into the throwing position, the longer your stride's going to have to be. And the longer your stride's going to have to be, the closer to home plate you're going to be when you deliver it, which means you're going to have unbelievable extension, which means it's going to look a lot faster to the hitter than it actually is. nickfrasso has all that working for him. Plus, he has a fastball that is approaching 100 miles an hour. Very good off-speed pitches that you've seen here. So, nickfrasso, another good outing last night for AA Tulsa. Hey, I've mentioned a couple of times that Tanner Dotson, if he can, just keep the ball in the strike zone, he has some of the most explosive stuff of anybody. As a matter of fact, he's already hit 100 miles an hour with his fastball in the past. If you remember, he was traded straight up for Luke Raley, who is doing very well for the undefeated, I think they're still undefeated, Tampa Bay Rays. But hey, Dotson last night had a wicked slider, good fastball, went scoreless, and he has yet to give up a run in his 2 outings. That spans 4.2 innings. He has a whip. This is what I'm talking about. This is his explosive stuff. Walks and hits per inning, just 0.27, which means he's throwing strikes. He threw 24 strikes last night in 37 pitches, and like I said, he's already hard enough to hit. All he really has to do with this stuff is get it in the strike zone, as we're seeing here, and he will be very effective, just like he was last night. Wanted to show you this catch by the Dodgers' number 6 prospect, Andy Pages, and the reason is great catch 1, but hey, 2, he's playing center field. He didn't play a whole lot of center field last year. He's lost a whole bunch of weight, which has allowed him to be more agile, a little bit faster, which has allowed him to play center field, which just gives him a better path to the major leagues. If you can play center field as well as the corner positions, we know he has the big-time arm, the big-time power that makes you more marketable. So wanted to show you that from the Dodgers' number 6 prospect, Andy Pages. This is left-handed pitcher out of Scotticoke, New York, John Rooney. He went to Hofstra too. Hey, and the thing was, he was a starter last year, and he's been moved to the pen, and boy, he's maxed out, and he looks absolutely fantastic out of the pen. Had another great night last night, John Rooney did, on the bump, and I love his confidence, his swag. He's very, very, very competitive. So I really think, hey, these high leverage moments are going to bring out adrenaline for him. It's going to allow him to max out with his pitches, and I think it's going to make him better, and it certainly has done that to this point in the season. He has not given up a run in his 2 outings. In release so far, his whip is just 0.43, and his average against just 143. His stuff has always been very good. He has that sweeper right there. That's a very good pitch. Thing about him, get the ball in the strike zone. There's another good pitch there. And get the ball in the strike zone, and he is very tough to hit. So John Rooney, I like the fact that he's in the pen right now. I like how he's pitching. I like how he's maxed out. I love the confidence and competitive nature in the high leverage moments. The Great Lakes Loons, they came out on fire last night. They scored single runs in the first and the second. Then they hung a 4 spot in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the eighth, and 5 in the ninth to put a whoop down on the Dayton Dragons. Hey, the Dayton Dragons are sold out like every single game. I heard the number the other night, but it's a lot of games in a row. Great crowd there in Dayton, and so hey, great atmosphere. You are looking at Ronan Kopp on your screen right here. Ronan Kopp, boy, I'll tell you what, Velo Donuts, man. And, obviously Madison Bumgarner is the comparison. He's kind of like Frasso. Look how he comes behind the back. He drops, which allows him to have a longer stride, which allows him to be closer to home plate whenever he delivers the ball. And he's already tall, so his extension is fantastic. His, just his fastball has potential out the roof. It was mid-90s yesterday, and he blanked the Dayton Dragons in 4 innings. He had 5 strikeouts, just 2 hits he gave up, and his ERA now is down to 1.29. Look at that fastball right there. There's a good look at him. Right there. His whip on the year is 0.86. So not only has he been explosive with that big left-handed fastball, he also has been very efficient, and he's been in the strike zone, and his hitters are just hitting 167 off of Ronan Kopp. So he's throwing strikes. When he is throwing strikes, there's Jake Vogel, good player. We're going to get to him here in a minute. when he is throwing strikes, hitters aren't barreling him up. As a matter of fact, his strikeout to walk ratio, like Nick Frasso, not quite as good, almost 11-2. So again, another guy in the Dodgers system with just unbelievable extension. Fastball gets on the hitter faster than they can react, faster than they realize. Like right there, it gets jammed, kind of late on it. Just a tough pitch to hit, and that's a lefty-righty matchup, which should favor a right-hander, so the hitter. So again, 11-2 just goes to show, not walking people, but still keeping the explosiveness. So great job, Ronan Kopp. Boy, what a hit tool Dalton Rushing has. He is absolutely unbelievable. And, the Dodgers are absolutely loaded at the catcher spot. The good thing about him, I've said it a couple times, he's played a lot of first base, especially at Louisville, when they had Henry Davis, and Henry Davis was the everyday catcher for them. So he doesn't have to play catcher. He played some first base last year for Rancho. I believe he played a game or two at first base in the playoffs as well. He had 2 hits yesterday. That's back-to-back games. Boy, that's Damon Keith right there. He is the most California-looking dude I've ever seen. That long, sandy blonde hair, he just has California written all over him. So Dalton Rushing, 2 hits, 3 ribeye steaks last night for the Louisville alum. He is the Dodgers' number 7 prospect, and like I said, he has hits in 3 games in a row. He's 5 for his last 13. Once they finally started throwing him strikes this year, he has teed off with his big-time hit tool. Hey, I don't think Dodgers fans realize that Bubba Alene, who was drafted last summer, was actually the Big Ten Player of the Year last year. This kid, switch hitter, he is really good. And another one of those guys, because he wasn't drafted, just ridiculously high. He's not on the ridiculously high prospects list. Maybe he doesn't get the attention he needs. Another one of those guys that the Dodger scouts go and find. We're going to talk about another one. Chris Newell kind of reminds me of him out of Virginia. That is just a fantastic baseball player. High energy, and he's, just a great hit tool. Very good defender, switch hitter. There's nothing not to like about Chris Alene, better known as Bubba. He had a hit and 2 RBIs yesterday. He scored twice, too, in the big win for the Loons over Dayton. He has hits in 3 games in a row, 4 of his last 5, and he's also 4 for his last 10 with a double, 2 RBIs, and 8 total bases. So remember the name Bubba Alene. Possibly the toughest guy in the organization, Yainer Fernandez. He might not be the biggest, but he might be the toughest. Okay, and if you don't believe me, just go to the All Grit team and read some of the comments that some of his teammates left about him and the toughness he plays with. His teammates just love him. You're seeing a home run right here. He has just absolutely ascended through the ranks. He's now the Dodgers' number 15 ranked prospect, and he has hit. That was his second home run that you just saw. He had 3 hits yesterday, including that home run, which was a second home run, like I mentioned. And in his last 3 games for Great Lakes, he has done very well, having hits. Well, actually, he has hits in 4 games in a row, and he's 6 for his last 17. And during that stretch, in the last 4 games, he has a double, 2 home runs, and 13 total bases. So, hey, Yainer Fernandez, a young man that can catch. He can play second base. He could probably play some third base. He could probably play outfield. He's probably going to have to do that, to plug in. We talked about all the catcher's depth, but boy, ascending through the ranks and playing very well, Yainer Fernandez. Okay, one of my favorite young prospects. If you follow Dodgers Daily much at all, you know how high I am on shortstop Alex Freeland. I got to see him a lot at UCF, and this dude is good. He's strong. He's advanced as far as his understanding and feel. When you say, hey, what does it mean to have a good feel for how to play baseball? I don't know. I probably couldn't define that. All I know is that when I see it, I know it. And when I watch Alex Freeland play, he has a great feel for the game of baseball, and he is just so good. I'm telling you, this young man is a great baseball player. He had a big day yesterday, 2 hits. He had 4 ribeye steaks himself, and they were very, very well done. As we saw, he also had a grand slam. I did not have it in this video. I don't know why I didn't put it in that video. Kind of kicked myself for that, but I didn't, so there you go. Okay, he's hitting 278. His OPS is 879. He has hits in 4 of his last 5 games. So I'm telling you, Alex Freeland, watch out for this dude. He is super talented. This is Jake Vogel that you're seeing on your screen here. Good to see him go the opposite field and get some hits because he is very, very fast. When he gets on base, he just creates havoc with his speed. He had 2 hits yesterday and now has hits in 3 of his last 4 games. Like I said, one of the fastest players in the system. I really like his swing. Look how simple that is. pretty flat through the zone. It should be allow him to, be able to play an offensive style of baseball that caters to his speed. So Jake Vogel, as he continues through, there's Taylor Young. I love that young man. So, as Jake Vogel continues to get more at-bats through the Dodgers system, he'll continue to get better, continue to figure out ways to use that speed to his advantage to become a great offensive player. Rancho Cucamonga had a very good game yesterday against the Rawhide Visalia. The Visalia Rawhide Maddox Bruns was on the bump for the Quakes. The Quakes scored 1 in the third, 1 in the sixth, 3 in the seventh, and 1 in the ninth. The night was highlighted by Maddox Bruns that you're seeing here. Very explosive. His first pitch of the night went all the way to the backstop over the umpire's head, and it's kind of like, well, here we go. If you're the opposing hitters, you're like, man, I'm not digging into that. I guarantee you that. And so, very explosive after that. He racked up 6 strikeouts in 3.1 innings. He gave up no runs, and he is the Dodgers' number 16 prospect. And just like all these young pitchers in the organization, got to throw strikes, and when he does, he is very, very good. He has 13 strikeouts in 7.1 innings, so that just shows you right there how explosive his left-handed stuff is. His velo is very good. It's mid to high 90s, so the velo is there, the curveball is there, the slider's there. You just saw it right there. The changeup is there, so everything is there for Maddox Bruns. When he's in the strike zone, average against is just 192. Kyle Nevin is just simply hitting the baseball and showing how his hit tool is just well beyond his years. Of course, he went to Baylor, so he's more experienced, than maybe a guy that got drafted out of high school. But he had 3 hits last night. This first one that you just saw, he spiked into left field. Now he hits the next one straight up the middle, and then his next hit you're going to see here in just a second. He goes oppo with it. He went around the world. That's what I call it, when hitters have a hit to every part of the field. That just goes to show you why I think he's going to be such a great hitter, because he's going to get in this organization. He's going to get in the Dodgers' instruction. He's going to keep getting better, and he already knows how to hit the ball where it's pitched. There's that opposite field hit, and he already knows how to hit the ball where it's pitched. And, he's not pulling outside pitches. He's not trying to inside pitches. He's just going with the pitch, and he can hit the ball to all fields. That is a very advanced thing to do at that level of baseball, and it's why I am so high. Obviously, also the bloodlines he comes from. His dad's the manager with the Angels. His brother Tyler, I believe is his name, is also, I believe, in the major leagues right now. So he has great bloodlines. Just knows how to hit, Kyle Nevin. All right, Chris Newell, interesting, getting a good look right there out of Virginia. I love his hit tool. He has what I call magic wrist, which means he's able to stay back and just kind of throw the hands at, not the barrel, but throw the hands at the baseball with a lot of bat speed. And still, even if you're fooled, or even if you're not, your timing's not perfect, if you can keep your hands back and you have really quick hands and what I call magic wrist, you can still hit the ball very, very hard, even when your timing's not perfect. We just saw it right there with Chris Newell. Another one of those guys, like we talked about earlier with Bubba Aline. Hey, not a huge, as far as being a hugely high draft pick. Look, I was able to go oppo power with that. That's impressive. But another guy that the Dodgers just scouted, they saw the talent, they saw, the tools, and he's an experienced hitter, and he's very fast. He's a master base stealer. This guy has a lot of talent. Another guy that you might be just kind of going, well, man, it gets mind-boggling with all the talent in the organization, but keep your eye on him. He's hitting 292 OPS, 976, Chris Newell. Here's a good look at Jose Izaga here in a minute, if I can get to the right picture. Here's Jose right there. Good inside out swing. Hey, the thing about him, he's a really slick fielder at second base. He's a good infielder. We saw him in spring training quite a bit, show off his defensive skills, so a very good defensive player. He had 2 hits last night, including his 3rd double of the season right there. He just smoked that hanging breaking ball, and he also scored a run, so Jose Izaga had a very good night for Rancho. Boy, I love this young man, Ronan Kopp. Boy, he has some serious power. He just moonshots that ball. When he hits a home run, some guys like Michael Busch, when he hits a home run, it looks like a line drive that just kept carrying and got out of the ballpark. When Ronan Kopp hits them, they are moonshots. They are like beautiful. I mean, they're like majestic looking, beautiful home runs. He has just a world of power. He's a wonderful young man. Get a good look at his physique right there, his body type, and just a good look at the young middle infielder prospect. Look at how he just launches that ball. That is so impressive. He's the Dodgers' number 12 prospect. And, boy, I tell you what, he has a 4-game hit streak. He's 7 for his last 18. He has 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, a double, and 8 runs scored in his last 4 games, of which he has a hit in every single one of them. So not only can he hit home runs, he can also hit middle infielder, good physique, long and rangy. Boy, a great prospect. Matter of fact, Dodgers number 12 prospect, Ronan Kopp. Hey, you have a chance to get in on ground floor stock for Chris Campos. Of course, he didn't just start pitching. Boy, look at that pitch right there. That's some depth. I messaged him today. He said that's actually a slider. So the depth on that pitch, look at that changeup. That's wicked. You got to see it in slow motion. There's a slider right there. That is a nasty pitch in that 4-seam up in the zone. He was a starting shortstop for St. Mary's, pitched a little bit in college. Matter of fact, he got to actually play behind Michael Hobbs. Michael Hobbs, the all-time saves leader at St. Mary's, and Chris Campos got to play shortstop behind him. So he's just now getting to be, he's still actually taking batting practice from time to time, if not every day. Last time I talked to him, he said he was still hitting. I don't know if he's taking batting practice every day now that the season started or not. But Chris Campos, now that he is PO, he has the big arm. He has that big-time wicked slider. He has 4 pitches. He also has a curveball and a changeup you just saw. There's that wicked slider right there. And like I said, he's just getting started pitching, so his arm is very fresh. He's very competitive. And another thing about him that I really like, he's on a mission. Actually, he's been told by good baseball people in his life that, hey, you're not big enough. You're not exactly what Division I colleges are looking for. You're certainly not what professionals are looking for. And guess what he's done? He's gone to prove all of those people that have told him that or have given him that message, he's gone to prove them all wrong. So he's on a mission. Chris Campos, get in on the ground floor of stock for him. Here is Joel Ibarra, who went 2.0 scoreless innings, 2 innings scoreless last night. Check out the slider. Man, that slider pitch is absolutely wicked from Ibarra. Just like everyone, there's that slider, kind of a frisbee type pitch. That is a tight moving pitch right there. I love that slider. Just like a lot of the other young prospects in the organization. Look at that 4-seam up. That's pretty explosive, man. That's a pretty explosive pitch. You saw him just blow away a hitter. Look at that. He just blew that hitter away. Then you match that with the slider that he throws. That's pretty good. He's thrown 5 innings on the year. He has not given up a run. His whip is very good as well. So Joel Ibarra has been very, very good on the season. This is Kelvin Bautista that you're seeing here. He's got the allow run this year in 2023 in 3.1 innings. Very live arm. Look how loose and live that arm is. That slider is very good. He hides the ball very well. We talked about this earlier with Baumgartner. Look out when he drops, it stays behind that left leg right there, and then he keeps it behind his head. Watch this next pitch. He keeps it behind his right shoulder and then behind his head, so you just can't see it as a hitter till it's already out of his hand, which makes it very, very, very deceptive, and it makes it seem a lot faster than it actually is. He has that really good sweeper pitch too, kind of a sweeping slider type pitch. There it is right there. So he's a nightmare for lefties, as we saw. There is Ronan Kopp making that play. Nice play for him. So he can backdoor right-handers too. And you're also getting ready to see that he can also back foot. There's the back door to a righty. Very good pitch with that slider. He can also back foot. There's another back door to get them out as well. His whip on the year, 0.90. Look at that slider to lefties. Well, that'd be tough to stay on if you're a left-handed hitter. So his whip on the year is 0.90. His average against is just 167. You can see why. He's very deceptive. He hides the ball very well. Has a very good sweeping pitch that he can backdoor to righties, back foot to righties, and then also move away from lefties. Kelvin Bautista. So there you have it. There's our show for you today, and I told you it was going to be very, very, very busy, and it was. Of course, the Dodgers, they had the day off yesterday. We talked about their big 10-5 win on Wednesday. They are in action again tonight, Friday night, against the Cubs. All 4 affiliates, well, it's 6-game series in the minor leagues now, so they will be facing the exact same teams over the weekend through Sunday that you saw in this video. For Rancho, they are in Visalia. Great Lakes is in Dayton. Tulsa is in Midland. And Oklahoma City is at home against Sugar Land. They'll be finishing their series, like I said. Their 6-game series over the weekend ending on Sunday. So, hey, before we get out of here, just one more reminder. If you'd like to donate to Dodgers Daily, click that link in the description. You can follow that link and help Dodgers Daily grow with a donation of your choice. If not, no big deal. Dodgers Daily will stay free forever. Okay, also become a subscriber to Dodgers Daily, and after you do, click that notification bell. Turn on your notifications. That way, each time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified, and Dodgers Daily keep growing. And also, spread the word. Tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily so we can keep growing. As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.